morning. We are live with our coffee. I forgot I had my ceramic mug before I poured it in this. Hello. We've got 2 of these to down while we're live. We're at a beautiful rest area in Illinois. Whichever you prefer. Me, I just say noise because it's annoying to everybody. Greetings from COVID Wing. How are you? Did you get hit with the vid? Good morning, Ratman. Good morning, Freight Sage Logic. Good morning, Jonathan Wheeler. Yeah, there's some crazy things going on right now in the world. But what are you gonna do, right? Describe. Good morning, Thomas. Hey now. You know, that reminds me. I haven't listened to an episode of Howard Stern in like 2 years, and that was the only, one of the couple of reasons why I kept my Sirius XM for so long. But this show's actually been kind of trash to me. It's just not funny anymore. Now I still keep up with Richard Christie and his antics, but I've got the Sirius XM app, and that allows me to watch some of the videos that goes on and watch interviews. But I noticed he's been replaying a lot of interviews from the past, so but oh well. All good things seem to come to an end. I've spent many miles listening to him, laughing, crying, disturbed. But we also have Donnie Luke. Good morning from New London, Missouri. Where is New London, Missouri? Red Pepper, what's up? Glad to see you're still with us and hanging out. Steve Watkins, good morning. Me neither. Just started other things a few years ago. Periscope, YouTube, etc. Ah, yes, Periscope. I remember Periscope. And like a narcissistic, egotistical asshole, I put a video out how I was leaving Periscope. And I imagine that was probably hilarious to some of the people on my Periscope. But that's before I learned how to not let social media get to you, right? Just South Hannibal. Okay, you're out. That's why I don't recognize it. Out there in no man's land, just north of St. Louis there. Howard Stern has taken the summers off with his new contract. He will not be live until September. See that? I think that's part of it. Because if you're an avid listener, you listen every day. And so to listen to repeats, it's just, I think the thing that turned me off about Howard Stern the most was when he started to gripe about his blessed life. He thought that was funny. He thought that was entertaining, and it wasn't. So, like, the best moments of the show towards the end there was something that would happen spontaneously that they would just run with. And those were the best moments in the interviews. But then he kind of got obsessed about persons. Let me change this up here. I already have it. Sexuality versus, I want to hear about a person's movie, not his bedroom antics. You know what I mean? It's like, if the person was a certain way, he would dwell on it and make jokes about it, and I don't know, it just, and then the October thing, that was just whatever, I'm not phobic in that sense, but it is still kind of gross, and so therefore, to me, and so it's just whatever. But his complaining of his blessed life, just seemed pointless, I guess would be the word. So. But whatever, to each his own. I don't judge. He's a gazillionaire and I'm not, so he must be doing something right. So, I am not a gazillionaire, nor will I ever be a gazillionaire. If I had $1 million, I'd probably be very wasteful and stupid with it. I'm drinking some of that Finger Lakes coffee company stuff. Man, that stuff is good. I'll tell you what, Pale Rider does not approve of the flavor that I picked. Pale Rider is one of my very good friends. He's one of my best friends. I was telling somebody that yesterday. And but he does not believe in flavored coffee. Yeah, I mean, look, I can imagine, Scribe, I can see him complaining about something that happened, or some inconvenience that happened here and there, but to sit there and talk about how he has all this money, yet he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to travel. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do that. I mean, he has money that people dream of having, and it's not, and his life sucks, So, I imagine that when he passes, his kids are going to live very happily, if they don't already, you know what I mean? So, Southern Rider, some are still stuck in the Stone Age, right? But, what are you going to do, right? I was talking to a family member about this. They asked me, why do I listen to heavy metal? What got me to listen to heavy metal? And this is related. Bear with me here. This is related to what we were just talking about. And I told this person, I didn't like the top 40 music in my day. Now, the early 80s stuff, I kind of like. Not all of it, but some of it. Because that's just kind of how, I grew up with 3 older sisters, so we listened to everything from disco to country to, whatever, right? And being 9 years old with 3 older sisters, you don't really get a whole lot of say. Now, the one sister would let me jam in a room AC/DC Back in Black, and I think that was the root of what you see here. But a lot of pop music was about love and happy and look at my perfect life, look at my perfect girlfriend, look at my perfect this, look at my perfect that, or I'm complaining about my perfect this, I'm complaining about my perfect that, and just, Suicidal Tendencies has a song called Just Another Love Song. It's the best love song out there. And there's a line in there that says, after listening to 15 effing songs in a row about love in a row, it's just... And so, it was more depressing to me than listening to, doesn't heavy metal depress you, Steve? Doesn't it make you angry? No. My anger allows me to feel better with I was already angry. I was already depressed. I don't want anything to remind me of it, all this happiness around you. And so, how does this relate? So you take someone like Howard Stern, who complains about his awesome life, right? Now, granted, he probably has stresses and pressures that, I'll never encounter because of his responsibilities to his family, to his company, to his brand, his work schedule. But at the same time, that lack of gratitude is toxic. And that's the part I'm talking about. You could be the poorest person and have gratitude. And you can be the richest person and have no gratitude. Who's going to be happier? You know, and what makes you feel better in a crisis situation? Well, at least this didn't happen. At least this happened. Like, for example, when my radiator hose busted, at least I was able to get off the interstate safely. At least I was able to get to an on-ramp or an off-ramp where I was out of the line of traffic. At least there was a shop literally, you know, half a mile from me. And he happened to have the right hose, and he happened to have a case of antifreeze, and he happened to be driving around the area. You know, all this gratitude for what would have been a stressful, crappy situation. Then I take that crappy situation, I learn, well, guess what, Steve? You should probably have extra hoses on hand. Which, you know, some of you experienced guys will probably be like, well, duh. But, you know, like I say a lot, and it annoys Pigtail to no end that when I say that sometimes I'm an idiot, but I didn't have the extra hoses, and that repair I could have done myself if I had extra hose. But I learned from that. So now I know that you can buy a whole sleeve. You don't have to go to PACCAR for the special part. You can buy a whole sleeve of that hose and have that extra. Cut it to length. Imagine the old days, the golden age of trucking, you would have that stuff on you. I don't remember my dad having a lot of hoses and clamps and all that other stuff. But I do know that there were times when there was one time he lost oil pressure, and we were on the side of the road, and people down on the CB and asked him if he was all right, what he needed, and all that stuff. You know, but you learn from your experiences, right? And that's the life of being an owner-operator or business owner in general, is that it's a roller coaster, right? You know, like when my turbo blew, I was grateful to be able to pay for it. I was grateful to have the hotel. I was grateful that I was able to make it to the shop without a tow bill. You know? Meanwhile, the biggest repair bill I've ever had was looming over my head. And, you know, so it's a roller coaster. And I had a lot of friends that were supportive. And gratitude sometimes is the only thing that's going to keep you from losing your stuff. Right? So when I see a gazillionaire like Howard Stern show no gratitude whatsoever, and he thinks that's funny, it's kind of a big turnoff on entertainment. Just like people that sit at home and complain about how tough it is to do your work from home. Oh my gosh. It's, you know, poor you. First world problems, people. My wife worked very hard to get to the point where she can work from home for the company that she works for, and the amount of freedom, the amount of money we save from, you know, not having to pay for gas, as much gas as somebody else, to have the freedom to be able to take the kids to school when she needed to, and doctor's appointments when she needed, you know, that's priceless. You know, and while the social aspect gets kind of difficult, you know, you wish you want to be around adults and be around people, you know, I get that, but I've watched people literally complain about their blessed life in the YouTube realm, and it just kind of like, whatever. Lack of gratitude brings depression. Depression brings anxiety. Anxiety brings anger. Anger makes you do stupid shit. That's it. So, good morning, Scott. Charles, good morning. Good to see you, Charles. You know, you and I had a conversation a while back, and I use that conversation, you know, when you talk about your weight loss and stuff to some other people, kind of keeps me motivated as far as, doing videos and talk about health, because no one wants to hear about health anymore. They don't want to hear that. But I'm glad you listened. Big Rig CEO. Hi, Steve. Look, Big Rig CEO, he's a funny guy. He knocked on my door yesterday and brought me a cup of coffee. And so I posted on Facebook that was his only purpose to come into Columbus, Ohio, was to bring me a cup of coffee. And, you know, it feeds the ego when people serve me, right? And that's twice he's done that. The other time I was doing a live feed in Brazil, Indiana, and he brought me coffee. Because the tire shop guy was being kind of idiotic. And Cascade Transport, I have some compliments for you too, because he was definitely helpful when I was stranded on the side of the road with antifreeze going everywhere. He told me what to do, and looking back, there's a couple of things I could have done different, but Cascade helped me out. Howard's lack of gratitude is an act. He practices transcendental meditation daily, and gratitude is part of that practice. Yeah, Little Vine Coach, I understand that. And, so that's why it's like, look, sometimes it's funny, but he'll dwell 2 hours on something that, and look, and going back to what I was talking about originally, we have these inspirational, like, Instagrams or TikToks, right? No, I'm not on TikTok. Don't get any ideas. But the Instagram Reels are kind of the same thing. And so a lot of people will do their TikToks and they'll put them on Instagram, they'll put them on Facebook, they'll put them on, whatever. To each their own. If you're on TikTok, I don't mean to offend you, but TikTok seems to me kind of seems toxic to me, because if I'm on the Reels on Instagram, an hour flies by and I realize that I've just literally wasted an hour of my life with 58 different emotions, and that's not good for the soul. But you have these inspirational quotes, and you have these people that show how hard work and determination, look at my perfect body, look at my perfect wife, look at my perfect house, look at my perfect, you too can do this. And what some of them have the intention of truly helping you, and I can usually pick those people out. And then others have the intention of just making money. Kind of like that whole, hey, for only $100 a month, I can teach you how to become a millionaire. But what that does, it's kind of like the music, that I was talking about earlier. That stuff, supposedly, you think it's a positive, like, I don't watch political stuff, I don't watch the doom and gloom, I watch positive Instagram and positive YouTube. But then after a while, you think, man, what am I doing wrong? Then I don't have this perfection that this other person is making me look at, right? I don't have this perfection that other people seem to have. And so this reality sets in, and you think, man, I kind of suck. It's kind of like, remember as a kid how you felt after watching a Rocky movie? You felt like you could, it's almost like this is life, right? You come out of a Rocky movie like, yeah, man, kick ass, yeah. And then, and then somebody picks a fight with you and they punch you in the face, you're on the ground, and boom, reality just hits you. And it can be depressing. You have this image of yourself that your ego inflates this, and you post a picture on Facebook and there's like 100 likes. You're like, oh yeah, and then the reality is you don't know what's behind that picture. So there are certain Instagrams that are truly positive, like Rasta White Shepherd. Ratman knows about that one. It's a white German Shepherd who's very cute, very well trained, in this beautiful scenery background. There's no agenda. They're not trying to sell you anything. Just, hey, you know what? You can't be here in Norway, so here's what it looks like with this. I don't know. She must have the lady that does these must have like $50,000 camera. So, and then you got like some of these health gurus, like Dr. Berg and Thomas Delore, that maybe originally they mean well, but it seems like they've become more salesmen, and they make you think that after a while you think, wow, I can't be healthy with just regular meat. I have to have grass-fed everything that's through the roof, or I got to buy their supplements, or I got to buy their special promo code bullshit, right? And so I find myself listening to those people less and less. Sometimes they got a good message, sometimes it's just a spiel, and that's the thing with social media now. People are on YouTube, people are on Instagram, people are on TikTok to sell you things, whether it's Target or the guy with the knife shop at the end of the street. You know what I mean? They're all designed to sell you something, and so YouTube becomes kind of a business. And so when you look at some YouTube channels, they start off here, but then now they're over here because they found a niche, they found a groove, and they're making money at it. And which I don't fault people for doing that. I wish I could do that. I'm waiting for a coffee endorsement and a beard product endorsement. I think I would do well with that. So let's see. Spooby's in the house. Big Rig CO. I wouldn't know, but I'm glad that you have an ego about something. Robert Daniel, what's up? Never judge someone's outside with your insides. That's a good term there, little biking coach. GNC Family Trucking. Walking can be meditation, swimming can be meditation. I love swimming. Walking is good too. I'm at this rest area, and I had to use the facilities, and I went for a little bit of a walk. There's a truss bridge here that had some historical significance, and it was cool reading that. Spooby is still carnivore. Absolutely awesome. So I bought a air fryer. And it's a little 2-quart thing, but I'm digging it. I am digging it. It's easier to clean than the George Foreman. It wasn't too terribly expensive. It's not too of a terrible drain on my APU. And I dig it. So it does steak pretty good. I'm still fine-tuning the length of time, but you need a beer endorsement? No, you don't. Yukon is over here. I'll be in Springfield with the new truck on August 25th. Dude, did you still want me to hang out with you on delivery so I can check out your new truck when you get it delivered? I'm outside the gym right now, ready for my morning swim / meditation. I got kids, we air fry everything. Cool. Yeah, this thing's small. And I dig it. I really do. It's easy to clean too, surprisingly. So yeah, I might just have to put the George Foreman grill away. Yeah, so that's good. Easy to make family meals. That's what it's all about, right? Convenience. What's happening today, Big Rig Radio Network? We're going to go by the house, and then I'll spend the night at the house and celebrate my wife and I's anniversary. And then I'll probably leave out Sunday afternoon so I can stage myself in Joplin so I can make my delivery, and then get back to work. Thank you, Jeff. 21 years we've been married. And, you know, and we're, look, if you celebrate anniversaries with gifts and, you know, and cards, or if you're the husband that forgets and the wife gets all mad at you and stuff like that, you know, we're not that kind of couple. I had completely spaced it because I hadn't been on Facebook all day yesterday. Usually Facebook memories were like, oh yeah, because we got married on an odd date. We didn't pick anything significant like April 1st, and we didn't, you know, we didn't do anything like that. Look at Ratman. Thank you very much, Ratman. Awesome. I will give that all to the wife because she deserves it more than me. Thank you, Ratman. We will use that for dinner tonight. So, excellent. In fact, I'm going to take a screenshot of that and show the wife. Thank you very much, Ratman. You rock. Just formulate your own beard oil. They have private label companies that will make it and package it. Just up to you to market it. I forget all the time, and she does too. It doesn't matter to us. And that's kind of it. We don't look. Normally, I try to be home for the anniversary, but because of things that have been happening, I needed to stay out. Now, again, I got to load through the house, and so that helps. But for the most part, you know, we're not. You know, we got married on the 23rd, but then our honeymoon was actually the following weekend. Or that weekend. Oh no, it was the next weekend. So like, was it 28th or something like that? And we were married in the year 2000. So it's easy to see how many years we've been, you know, married. You know, and just like any relationship, there's been ups and downs, you know, and relationships, you know, take maintenance, right? You can't live in the honeymoon phase forever. So it's if I have any relationship advice whatsoever, it would be patience. Patience has to be done on both sides. You know, there's this toxic movie I watched. It was about this young couple that decides to experiment with an open relationship. And there's a scene where they kind of berate the guy that has the family, and he's been married, and they kind of made him look like he's the idiot, you know. But at the end of the movie, he is actually the hero, because his friend, you know, who's struggling with this relationship, goes, you know, this guy's talking about his grandparents being married for like 60 years, something like that. And he said that, it's like, well, what's the secret to that? He's like, love is just two people that won't give up on each other. And that's it. He said it's as simple as that. And, you know, of course, the end of the movie kind of helped the whole toxicity of the beginning, but I would not want to be a 20-something single trying to date right now, that's for sure. That Ninja, what's up? After CommuTube takes 50%, right? No, they take 30. But Ratman has always been generous. Always been generous. So, but I appreciate the happy anniversaries, you know. So, but yeah, so I mean, so gratitude comes in, and you got to be careful of the positive channels, the positive things, because that can sometimes work your depression against you. You know, only you can have that aha moment. Only you can have that Rocky moment. You know, every Rocky movie has that moment where, you know, he's down and he's depressed and he thinks he's gonna lose, and then his wife talks to him. Some big speech comes up, and next thing you know, he's working out better, and next thing you know, he's kicking butt and taking names, you know. but everybody has to have that moment, and sometimes it's 10 of little moments that make it happen, not the one. And until you have the aha moment, you can't improve your health, you can't improve your business, you can't improve your relationships. You have to have the aha moment yourself. And you can watch all the inspirational videos you want, but the reality is, unless it makes a connection with you that sticks, because we might think you might have an aha moment, but the reality is you're just motivated for a minute, and then that motivation dwindles. And so you have to figure out what makes the motivation dwindle, what makes the habit not become a habit. You know, Yukon with the 80s reference joke. That's funny. Last aha moment I had was stuck in a comic strip being chased by weird kids. Oh, that's funny. What's up? I'm motivated, says John. T's awake on me? What's that mean, Spooby? Heading to Kelly, LBC, going to see you. John, you talking to me? I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, Cali. Okay. So, got a little bit left. This Finger Lakes coffee is awesome. Hey, Yukon, have you ever? I don't know if Yukon's a coffee drinker, but you ever had that? Yukon, here's what you do: go to Diedrich's in Dryden, New York. That place is awesome. We literally live next door to that guy. And my sister's worked on this little farm stand that's now a pretty decently sized store with Whole Foods and all that. Awesome, awesome place. So. You're trying to sing, Spooby. You know that's not a good idea. Yeah, I broke my bread promise not to eat bread because they have wholesome, good bread with real ingredients there. So, it was good stuff. Tell you what, if I lived in Dryden, New York again, I would probably do most of my shopping there and be broke, because a lot of this stuff is expensive. You know, if you want to eat healthy, it's expensive. And, you know, for the most part, if you're trying to avoid certain things. Yes, Robert Daniel. A guy named Mike Pro Lids is having a weight loss challenge. Winner gets to build a Harley with Senior from West Coast Customs. That's cool, Ninja. See, that is cool, because you know, now there's a materialistic end game, which a lot of people respond better to. But it could be wasted if you don't figure out what made you overweight in the first place. You know, and look, I was listening to James Best talk about health stuff yesterday, and eating right is not about losing weight. It's about, you know, a lot of people sit there and say, well, you know, you only live once. You know, God's going to take you when he decides to take you, so you might as well enjoy life. So you might as well have that donut. You might as well have that pizza. And I hear that all the time. And that's the attitude that I used to have. The attitude that got me up to 400 pounds. Okay? Or close to it. And you're right. God will decide when it's time for you to go. And you should be happy. And when you're 380 pounds And it hurts to even lay down. It hurts to sleep. You can't do anything cool with the kids or with the wife because of your weight. You're miserable. You feel miserable. So yeah, you deserve to feel good. You deserve to do things. And a lot of people can't differentiate between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure comes from dopamine. Happiness comes from serotonin. Right? Right, LVC? And we've confused the two. So while someone might be happy eating the pizza, the long-term effects will make you miserable at the end of the day. So why spend the last 5 years fighting cancers and fighting your weight and fighting, you know, this 400 pounds of flab? You know, it's all about feeling good. Weight loss is just a side effect of being healthy, of being in the right mindset, in the right, you know, you're a machine. You have to treat it like a machine. Jonathan Wheeler, I'm still at 120. I got down a little bit, but then the stress, you know, and that's the thing. Stress can cause weight stalls or weight gain. And with everything I was dealing with in the last month, my weight loss that I was getting from my 40-day carnivore challenge actually stalled at a, you know, as soon as I was not concentrating on eating nothing but meat anymore. And so, but the thing with carnivore is that you may not lose weight, but the weight shifts. You find yourself more lean in the arms, you find yourself more lean in the legs, you find yourself more lean in the abs, and it's like the body's toning, it's gaining muscle and toning. So, you know, there's some, so, you know, so I really don't concentrate on the weight loss as much. I do need to lose this puffy thing in the front of my stomach. And I don't know how much of it's loose skin, so I'll never have the straight abs, you know. Red Pepper says he's in pain every day. I'm sorry to hear that. My carnivore has kicked into overdrive after 3 months. Lost 10 pounds this week alone. Nice. Reading the comments here. How much? Okay, I already read that. Ratman says the happiest when his life pledged. You know, that's good happiness right there, right? I'm always happy and get my pleasures when I'm around my horse and nothing else. There you go. I've lost 10 pounds this week in the hospital with CV. Don't recommend it though. Yeah, that's tough. You know, and Christian Trucker has announced that his whole family has the vid. And so prayers out to him and his family. And I told him, get into fasting, stop eating sugar, because sugar is toxic when you're sick. I mean, it's toxic all the time, but it's definitely even more toxic when you're sick. My gastro guy told me I would always have a distended stomach due to my liver disease. Yep, Nittany Lion, I hope you get feeling better. You know, hope you don't get it too serious. 10 pounds can make it. Look, I lost 15 pounds one time due to the flu. It was when I was a teenager. Hensley back in the hospital with sepsis. That's pretty serious. Yeah, that's not good. What's my opinion on a second shutdown? Well, take a look at Australia. Australia is doing these 5-day, you know, we're shut down for 5 days. I think that if there's another shutdown, the country's going to lose their mind. So instead of telling you it's 15 days and then going a full year, it's going to be, we're going to do these 5-day spurts in different spots and just different hot spots, right? Because they know the damage that it's doing to the country. the shutdowns, that is. And there's no more stimulus money. I mean, we're already printing the money, right? I was predicting that 2.0 was going to happen. I was a year off. I thought it was going to happen the following winter. And it looks like I'm seeing signs that things are heading in that direction. They just got to do the narrative more gently. Because I don't think that the country's mentality can handle another full-on shutdown. But it doesn't mean they won't try. So is it going to happen? I would look to the other countries to see what they're dealing with. And Australia is a good example. They're doing these 5-day spurts, hoping to nip the curve, you know, flatten the curve or whatever. But, you know, and no, I don't want to talk about that part because YouTube's been all like, you know, but I'm mentally preparing for it, even though I hope it doesn't happen. Take health serious. If you're a driver, one bad medical condition or bad physical, the career of driving is over. That's absolutely true. Canada just out of lockdown a week or so now. Federal government has been printing money for decades now. That's how broke our country is. Robert Daniel, people know my story, and that's all I have to say about that. So it's Trucker Review Channel put a video about the birds and the bugs, and I had noticed that my windshield is not that dirty. It's July, right? But I was also in Indiana last week, where I was visiting my niece, and Indiana, the state of Indiana, has been told not to put out bird feeders because the birds were dying of something and they were trying to figure out what it was. And so when TRC put up that video, and it's just a short, you know, I looked at the lights, you know, last night. It's kind of weird. And, you know, we were talking about, you know, I called him up yesterday and we were talking about some of the things going on in the country and all that. I don't know, I have this underlying feeling that something is about to happen. I don't know if it's natural. I don't know if it's going to be political. I don't know if it's going to be 2.0. I don't know if it's going to be what it is, but I feel like things are coming to a head, and I can't control it. I can't, you know, like I said, all you can control is how you react to what happens, right? But when you look at a trajectory that looks destructive, you can't help but know that there's not going to be a good end result. I just heard last night Arkansas hospitals are maxed out due to a new wave. I've heard that too. The truckers table, could new outbreak of virus cases be linked to them busting and flying illegal on Mexico? You know, you can argue that, Triple T, but one of the things that I would look into is the homeless situation on the West Coast, Seattle, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Sacramento. What are the big cases there? And what's going on there, right? You know, and there's a lot of confusing narratives out here, and I think that left-wing news is supposed to make you scared and nervous and angry and full of anxiety, but right-wing news does the same exact thing. And so that's creating this bigger divide that's also going to come to a head. Movie says paranoia. No, it's not really paranoia. It's more, I just see habits, right? If you see somebody doing self-destructive habits, eventually there's going to be a come to Jesus meeting with that person. If you're doing something destructive, something is going to happen. You're either gonna lose your mind, you're gonna lose something, you're gonna take a financial hit, you're gonna take a social media hit, you're gonna take a something will come along that'll clean your slate, or you'll have a positive reaction and clean your slate yourself. Either way, it's a major change that's coming. That's what I'm talking about. There's a major change coming, and I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if it'll be for the good. I don't know if it'll be for the bad. But paying attention to the surroundings is important. And I kind of got, I mentioned Plan B on James' Best live feed last night, because they were talking about the AB5 thing and the PRO Act and all that. And I said, just having a Plan B is important. And I kind of got ridiculed for that by Spectre. It's like, what's this Plan B that look, you always have to have a Plan B to get out of a situation if you're in a situation. I don't know why that was difficult to understand. And it just kind of made me laugh, because it's like, don't you always need a Plan B? And I didn't understand that. And so, I think of the worst case scenario, I plan for it, and then I try to create the best case scenario, and I plan for it. That's all there is to it. And I'm fully prepared as much as I'm prepared as much as I can for anything that happens, short of nuclear war or civil unrest or whatever, and when it comes to business stuff, I do very low risk, and because I vowed that my business would never take my family's house away, and it would never take my health away. And that's the commitment I've made to myself. Now, because my business model is a little bit safer than others, do I work as hard? No. Could I work better? Absolutely. It's not do or die for me. But do or die creates stress that in the long run doesn't do you any good. What good's $1 million if you can't enjoy it, right? But as long as I keep the ability to be able to perform under a do or die situation, then I'm good. And every now and then I'll put myself in a situation where I need to kind of bump up my productivity, or I need to bump up my certain skills that allow me to progress forward. Because of having a month off for family issues, because of a big truck breakdown, and so I tell these Snyder Finance guys that once you learn how to manage a Snyder Finance truck payment, you can be a pretty strong business owner, especially if you complete the lease. Because most people don't put themselves with the cost that high in running a trucking business. We just pulled our soldiers out of Afghanistan overnight. Seems odd. Yeah, but we'll never know the truth of what happened there, Mr. Best. Freedom Phone. I've heard about this Freedom Phone. You must watch the same podcast I do. I haven't looked into that at all. Can you share your plan B? Well, if the AB5 or the PRO Act comes along, I'll just get my own numbers, or see what Jeff's plan B is to keep his contractors. And I have money stashed away, and I have things in place that if I had to get my numbers today, I could. Well, start the process today. But for now, I'm happy where I'm at, and and that's it. The other plan C is I could sell this thing off and get in on another business that's not trucking related. That's plan C. That would take care of my debt. That would make a profit, and then it will allow me to pursue the other goal that I have. So, there you go. So, if you're a carrier owner, what will you do in the what ifs, right? Even if you're like, let's burn it all down, I'll just do something else. Well, what's that something else? For those of you who've been driving a while, you have to have an exit plan. James Best, you've talked about exit plans. How do you get out of the truck, right? And sometimes it's forced by health. Sometimes the health goes, like what happened to Salty Pirate. Guess what? Boom, you're done trucking. Now what? What do you do? And you have to think of these things. You have to come to a dark place and think of what if this happens? And go with that, because you don't want to be completely blindsided by something. Plan B is only being prepared for the future. Smart thinking, if you ask me, right? I've been looking at second non-trucking businesses myself. See, there you go. And there's nothing wrong with that. I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it really changed my perception on income. And while I don't agree with a lot of Robert Kiyosaki's methods that he gets into here lately, the initial Root first book is designed to change your perception of how money can be made, and by having multiple streams of income, that can be important. And the people that have invested in something that I want to invest in have other investments as well. And there's another person that owns the business that I kind of want to get in on that also owns a truck dealership. So it's and we're kind of in talks with something of that. It's not going to take me off the road, but if I have to get off the road, then I can kind of get into that deeper. But I would still have to have something to pay my bills at home. So that's where the challenge would be. And I still like trucking. I don't like what trucking's become in many facets. I mean, there's a lot of things that just don't sit well with me right now. Government inspired and non-government inspired. And I think a lot of it's just people. People are just getting uglier, not physically, but like just less courtesy, less friendliness, It's kind of a big bummer. Yeah, Red Pepper was taken off the road. I'm getting all my bills in order so I can get out of the truck within the next 1 or 2 years. You know, and Sammy makes sense. His approach is a good one too. You know, run like the Dickens the first week or so, and then you got the rest of the month off. So, you know, then that's freedom. You know, that's kind of what I try to do, but I'm not working hard enough when I am out. So, and look, I'm honest enough to admit that. I'm honest enough to myself that I know that I need improvement. And that's something a lot of people can't do. And it's understandable that they can't do that, because being honest with yourself is sometimes the hardest thing that you have to face. You can have the worst relationship, you can have the worst tragedy in your life happen. But being honest with yourself can sometimes be the hardest thing that you will ever have to do. Because once the truth is revealed of what you need to do, where you need to go, and where you're really heading, it could be absolutely terrifying. Truth About Truck and Wife, good morning. So, gratitude, being kind to each other. You know, stop squabbling over pathetic details that really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. And just know that there's something coming to a head. Something. You can feel it. You can feel the tension. You can feel it. And if you don't feel anything, then you live a charmed life, and I admire that. Learn how to create NFTs and to stake my cryptocurrency for an additional income stream. It's been working out slowly but steadily. My Robinhood is pathetic. I keep moving stuff around, and I'm trying to learn, but I'm not trying hard enough. I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine, and I made some money after we talked, but the stock market is kind of doing some weird stuff right now. And Dogecoin, look at that disaster. Luckily, I only lost 20 bucks on that deal. Other trucker James Best, that's the direction we're heading. We're taking that stimulus money that we're getting from the government, and that's what we're investing in. That and another freezer. Beef is getting outrageously stupid, and I plan on doing some hunting this year. And while that's a little bit overconfidence to get a freezer, but we're getting a freezer to be able to handle, you know, some food. And if you wrap meat good enough, it'll last 2 years. Buy a ProStar, it'll change your life. I'm sure it will. I feel my last truck payment coming September 10th. Awesome. See, and Spoopy is probably running his business better than me, because he's dealt with that Schneider Finance truck. I can get a lot of my venison. Somebody mentioned, I forget who it was, somebody mentioned copper. I thought that was interesting. You got people risking their lives trying to steal copper from poles and stuff like that. There's got to be something in it. You know, I always found it weird that if you ever pick up at a copper mine, you know, you get those plates that they put on flatbeds. I always thought that was odd that you would do that with people like ripping off copper all the time, and those plates make it easy. I picked up a load of copper out of Arizona one time that went all the way to Connecticut. That load kind of sucked. But it was, you know, you could put that stuff in a van. Oh, oh, can is a mason jar. Oh, okay. I can a lot. Okay, I can a lot of my medicine. Okay, I see. It's really cheap and difficult to store. And platinum, yeah. Look, look. I say buy both, right? Buy both silver and crypto. See if you can make a few bucks on the crypto. But it's like what everybody's saying, look, I'm not a financial advisor by no means, so just plug your ears. But I would think that if you have a small amount of money that you can risk, then depending on which direction you went with it, it might be worth the risk. But I wouldn't put your life savings into it. That's kind of how I looked at a lot of crypto. Need to dehydrate for when the power goes, maybe a solar generator. Rick LP, what's up? And look, I'm not a prepper by no means. Do I have food and water stashed? Yeah. Do I have medical supplies kind of stashed? But it's not like I've got this underground bunker and all that. I've got myself enough to get out of a situation for my family. That's it. Power goes out. And TRC and I were talking about this yesterday. There's a report out there that if the power went out, if you lost all power and electronics in America, 80% of the population would not last a year. I forget what time frame it was. And it wouldn't take much to do that. 3 nukes in the sky, not even detonated on the soil, wiping out everything, grid-wise, because people will literally tear themselves apart. Look up the New York riots during the blackout. I think that was in the early 70s, maybe. Look how people handle natural disasters like hurricanes and stuff like that. So a lot of people do good. There's a lot of people that do bad. I watched that show Jericho. That's prepped me a little bit. Steve, if you ever want to talk about simple investing, I work for both Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, several hedge funds, and JP Morgan's investment maker. All right, well, John, maybe because I need to be educated in that field, because I would like to have that as another stream income. So, but look, there's bigger things at play that we're not in control of. So all you control is what's up here. And you control that, you control the world. Your world. And that's all that counts. So with that being said, I'm gonna go to work. This coffee is about done. And yeah, Snyder is thinking of buying me. It's a company guy. The guy that has no stress but has to wear his vest and boots. But guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for this Ratman. Thanks for the anniversary gift. You guys take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Have some gratitude. Have a plan B. Maintain your relationships. Maintain your business in a positive direction. Be good. Be safe. Peace.